question, and it's about UVA's viewpoint of the Pacific Islands.
Okay, so our hypothesis was that basically what we felt the same way, like when we were walking into this class, like we don't really know what Oceania was. We figured that our results would turn out the same way, that we would know, and then what people would know about Oceania would be very biased to what hotel companies and things like that like would do. And so what we did was we interviewed participants at UVA and tried to get UVA's perspective of Oceania. So what is Oceania? We've learned that about class, but just a refresher. It's centered around the tropical Pacific Ocean. There's Melanesia, Micronesia, and Polynesia. There's near and remote Oceania also, that changes the names a little bit. Western Polynesia there's three ways of settlement. The Western Polynesia into Tuvalu and Tokelau. Eastward into Northern Cooks and Boreal Islands, and then Western Polynesia into the Southern Cooks. So that's a little map. Sorry, it's fine.
Okay, so obviously like this semester we talked a lot about the general like western viewpoint of the Oceania Islands, and so we've come up with this idea that there's this myth about the islands. And people generally associate these islands with paradise. People think of the palm trees and like the Hawaiian hula dancers, and the general perception of the Oceania Islands is obviously that it's a place where they can go and just relax. And so when we read the book by Khan, a lot of what was said was that people wanted to go to these islands because they wanted to go to these postcard picturesque places, which is the two pictures that you see on the side. There's the postcard of Tahiti and then a postcard of Hawaii. And as you can see, it's a very paradise picture. And so when people go to these islands, they said that about 90% of the time you're going into this very well-kept place where everything is adhered to this myth. And so there's this creation of heterotopias that we read about where they'll put certain items in certain places so that they can create this reality of this island myth. And there's like an example where they would, if there wasn't white sand on the beaches of the hotel, they would bring in sand from like the lagoons to create this myth. And so all of this together propagated this image in a lot of people's minds about what Oceania is like. The reality is, as we have read, although there are beaches with palm trees and stuff, not everywhere on these islands is like that. And so here are just like some photos. So the top right is the Jabusi, which we read about, and they're just hanging out, but there's not this like paradise perception in that photo. And then on the bottom left, right here, is a town called Papiti and Tahiti. And as you can see, it's a very urban environment. It's just a city. There's no palm trees and white sand beaches. And then on the bottom right is Yona, Guam. And as you can see there, it's just this house, just, sitting in the grass. But obviously it's not a paradise setting. So there's no more of this like staged authenticity where, people think of relaxing and, what we usually think of as paradise, and that's like the actually authentic islands.
Okay, so what we did was we interviewed 12 people, both male and female, they had the same amount of males as females, and then we asked them about the 3 questions about the Pacific, and then we analyzed the interviews and to create like what UVA thinks about Oceania and what they really know about it. And then at the end we end up comparing it to the Oceania perspective of the UVA student population versus the general Western population. The questions that we ask are, what are 3 islands in Oceania that you have heard of? When you think of one of these islands, what is the first thing that comes to mind? And then we showed them we did earlier, like a really nice picture, and then like an actual picture of the place, and then we asked them to give them the thoughts.
So this is our interview, and we had 12 interviewees, but a few of the videos didn't function when they were like sent across email to my computer. So on here we only have 8 of them.
Okay.
But our research is based on multiple. Turn up the volume.
What comes forward?
Here?
Right.
Hawaii, New Zealand, and Papua New Guinea.
Islands? Like it can be any island? Like Galapagos Island? I'm American, I actually have to confront it.
What's Oceania?
The Oceania? Like the ocean? What's the Oceania?
The Philippines? I sound so stupid. Fiji, maybe. Fiji. And oh, this is so embarrassing.
I don't know.
Marshall Islands, Philippines, and New Zealand.
Wait, what? Is that Oceania?
This might sound like a really primitive, uncivilized people, just I don't know, a lot of beautiful vast expanses and that are inhabited by people that aren't really yes.
Like we took these islands, I think of tropical stuff, vacation, just relaxing.
Hula dancing. Surfing, yes, and indigenous people.
Beaches and hula skirts.
Beaches, sun, the waves, the ocean, like resorts.
I mean, I'm not quite sure what those islands are, but just tropical.
Palm trees, tropical forests.
Well, girl on the postcard was much better looking than the people in that picture.
I just feel like it's hard for people to differentiate between the beach being as a nice tropical island where they can relax just for tourists and the fact that people actually live there and have a normal day-to-day life.
Okay, the first one is really nice. I guess it was Hawaii with a moon and the stars and clear sky. Just looks really nice. And then the second one is it's a family or a big group of natives somewhere, and also a white tourist with a hat on, and he's getting a real experience, I guess.
I think that the hotels and the industries try to make the islands seem nicer than they are to maybe have people come to the islands to give more money and kickstart their economy, whereas in reality it's not as pleasant as they portray it to be.
The postcard looked much more relaxed. Hawaii was a very more relaxed place, I guess.
I mean, I get why the travel agency do that, because who the heck wants to go to the second picture, but yeah, it kind of sucks when you show up and it doesn't look like the first picture.
It's really eye-opening, completely unexpected. I would never, it shows me how completely ignorant I am of everything that's going on in Oceania. It's actually sort of startling that you don't hear anything about this in modern day news or anything like that. But definitely like eye-opening.
This second picture probably represents the real culture. The first one seems like where I want to go vacation.
So that's our video. And as you can obviously see, the video pretty much confirmed, these interviews confirmed both of our hypotheses. There's definitely a general lack of knowledge. Most people couldn't name 3 islands, and those who did named islands that they like the most well-known ones, like Hawaii. And along with that, they definitely, like, when we asked them to think, like, what they thought about Oceania, like, obviously for the people who didn't know what it was, we told them, but they definitely thought of beaches and relaxing first and, like, foremost, and that's just, like, obviously the general consensus, and that's definitely what the hotel agencies and, like, commercials want you to think. Like, you see, like, Bud Light commercials, there always are beaches everywhere, and, like, this is like the images that they were trying to make people think about when they think about these islands, and it's obviously working because of those 8 interviews, they all thought of like relaxing when they go to these islands, and like people actually live there, people actually work there, and it's not always that nice. And it really demonstrates the like effect of the propaganda in the United States, and that was like the point of our research. And so we were glad to see it come to fruition.
And also, like, if we take UVA into account, the fact that we're supposed to be one of the, like, we're supposed to be some of the smartest people in the nation, and I mean, that was embarrassing. Like, I'm kind of embarrassed that it's on YouTube. Like, you know, I mean, we don't know anything about it. So I think that has something to play too, like how much even like the smartest people are affected by this propaganda.
So after we conducted our research, we just need to state like some problems that we had collecting our data. Well, obviously our research is only limited to like a small amount of people. We only had 12 interviews, and it's not really representative of UVA as a whole, so we can't really conclude that. And different photos were shown to the interviewees, so it wasn't really consistent, even though I think it was kind of representative. And it wasn't entirely random, like all these people we knew, like it wasn't just like take everyone and just like randomly pick people. And our conclusions are not necessarily representative of the opinions of the Westerners. Like we can't really generalize their opinion based on like those interviews. And there's honestly no way for us to know who the specific islanders truly are. Like even though we've read a bunch of readings about like these researchers who have gone to the places, we don't really, like those are based on their like interpretations and their experiences, and it's not, like we can't really conclude that's actually how they are.
And these are sources.
Thank you. Any classmates want to ask questions?
Yes. Anybody have questions?
We don't have much time for the other groups, so I feel like we should.
Oh, sorry. Please remind me again. So how many people you already interviewed?
We interviewed 12 people, but
Okay.
4 of the videos weren't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
If you need the like other 12 or the other 4, we can try to send them to you separately so that you want to.
You mean